It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Wednesday, January 15th. And so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, do not follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. Of course, it is the last day of GGG, day 15, and we're going to have another awesome testimony. And of course, we have commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And yes, it is a wonderful and awesome Wednesday. It is the middle of the week, and it is the final day of giving glory to God. Hope you guys have enjoyed your week thus far. Don't forget, we do have Q&A Thursday every single week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, please leave a like and comment to build this community together. All right, so I am super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is Be Perfect. Yes, great title, Be Perfect. And of course, through the message, we realize what this actually means. If we are not perfect, this is where all the problems are actually caused. All right. So yes, it is Wednesday, the middle of the week. We do have a Wednesday service tonight. And yes, the last day of giving glory to God. I hope you guys have been giving glory in multiple and awesome ways. And of course, we do have another great testimony coming today also. I am now recording in my hotel room in Las Vegas. Yes, guys, Viva Las Vegas. I'm over here and I'm looking outside the window overlooking the Las Vegas Strip. And I've been here for, 12 hours, right? And just tell you, I've had, I thought this was going to be a trip of rest. And I'm not saying it's not a trip of rest, but I thought it was going to be a trip of rest, get some rest. But went out to eat. I met the family here and such, and we spent about over 7 hours in conversation about sunscreen. It's crazy. And I'm going to tell you guys, the 7 hours went by so fast. We thought we were going to eat lunch together and just, talk a bit and then head out to the hotel to check in, get some rest, and then go meet some other members here. We went straight from the airport to eat to their house. 7 hours, over 7 hours. And finally, at the very end, we realized we got to go right away to pick up people to go eat and talk and stuff like that. It was crazy, guys. I'm dead serious. I couldn't believe how fast the time has gone. Yes, no break. And now it's like 11 p.m. On the Monday night. No, it's 11 p.m. Well, yeah, because I'm recording for the days after, right? So I know that in Asia, one of the things you have to understand is we're 17 hours behind, which means that every day at 2:30 p.m. the day before is when the podcast goes out to Asia. And then, of course, the Westerners will be able to listen to it when it comes out or in their morning time when it's supposed to be watched or whatever it is, right? But because I'm in the Western country, I am doing things so much earlier than I thought I would be doing. So it's 11 p.m. on Monday night, and I'm doing the Wednesday podcast, right? Because I need to post this and get this ready before I sleep because it's got to be posted by, I think it's 11, is it 11:30? Gosh, I hope I posted the thing early enough for yesterday's podcast. Yeah, it was posted up early enough, but I think it was posted early enough. I think, but I need to post these up. I'm in the West Coast. Think about this, how big America is. There's this huge 3-hour time zone. So when I'm in 112, yeah. So when I'm in the West Coast, it's 11:30 a.m. I have to post it. And when I'm in the East Coast, it's 2:30 p.m. So if I don't get it done early enough, if I don't get it done early, then what's going to end up happening is I'm going to have to rush it the next morning, which I don't want to do. So I try to get these done a little bit early. But yeah, it's really interesting how my time schedule changes so many things. And I almost feel like I'm doing things 2 days in advance. It almost feels like that, right? So yeah, those of you guys don't know, if you guys heard the news, man, there are some crazy wildfires going on in California. And I'm going to be heading there tomorrow. I don't know what the latest news, the death toll of people who died in these wildfires so far is 24, right? So 24 people have died. And then how many houses, right? There's okay, so far 24 people have died. 40,000 acres are destroyed. And over 12,000 buildings and structures have been destroyed. I think 150,000 people have been evacuated. Members are all safe, just to let you guys know that. And also, my cousins all live in California. One of my cousins has been evacuated, so I'm really praying that they'll be safe too. But on top of it, because of the winds and the fires, flights have been delayed. So I'm supposed to leave tomorrow night, Tuesday evening. I'm supposed to be going back to Korea, and I get an email saying that very high possibility of my trip, my flight either being delayed. And I've been checking the airport. Hundreds of flights are delayed and canceled. Hundreds, right? So they're going, hey, if you rebook, we'll give you no change fee. So I've changed my booking, and I've pushed it to a lot further, actually to another airport, so that I don't have to go through the mess of the LA airport that's affected by the winds and the fires. So my flight has been delayed. And I think one thing that I thought it was, and I think this is something that we, especially as people of this history, notice, is that sometimes God does things because there's a will involved, right? So because of that will that's involved, this is why we kind of look at it and say, oh, okay, so because of my flight delays and stuff, even though it comes from, say, something happens with the wildfires, it still makes me there could be more than one reason for these things to happen. And I thought, you know what? This is probably God telling me to stay a little bit longer and also be able to go to another region and stuff too. So most likely I'll be heading to another region. So I thought Las Vegas would be my last region, but I'll be heading back to LA and then driving up to another region and then flying from another region out there. So it is something that, we have to look at it that way because we're spiritual and we're being in this history, right? So, yeah, my flight has been delayed for another week, so I will be here a little bit longer, be able to have another Sunday service here in in America, right? One thing that's kind of interesting for me, though, is I came here at a pretty light weight, and I just checked the scales of my weight right now. I have gained over 6.5 pounds. I have gained over 6.5 pounds, guys. I'm not fat at all, right? I'm still well below what I'm normally at, because when I'm working out, exercising, and eating a lot and doing all these other different things. When I was younger, I was at 180 to 182, somewhere around there, 180 to 182, right? And, I thought to myself, as 80 kilograms makes me a man kind of thing, right? Now that I'm a little bit older, my weight, my weight doesn't go that high. So right now I'm at 174 and a half. 174 on the dot, I think. So I've gained 6 pounds, over 6 pounds since I've been here in America. And guess what, guys? It's just really about the gluttonous culture of America. Everything's about excessiveness. Big roads, big buildings, big cars, big portions of food, and it's cheap, right? It's this is what I'm getting used to, guys. This is what life is like here in Las Vegas, or just in America. Everything is just huge. The sheer size, everything else. So yeah, over 6 pounds I have gained so far. And still, I am nothing close to what my normal and regular weight is, which means I did lose a lot of weight, which is kind of interesting also because right now my weight, according to like the Eastern medicine doctors, according to my Eastern medicine doctors, they actually told me that the best weight for me is at 173. So I'm right around that weight. So I thought to myself, maybe I should try to get myself and keep myself around this type of weight too. So I'm grateful and thankful that I'm gaining some weight though, because I thought I was a little bit too skinny anyways, right? So yeah, man, I gotta tell you guys, I was with there's a pastor in Las Vegas, and he has been around since the beginning. We're talking way in the beginning, and the reason why we were sitting for like 7 hours is just all the stories he is telling us. He was telling us, like, in the very beginning when Sunsi would go on tour, they wouldn't have much money. So they would rent this small room where Sunsi would sleep in one place and everyone else would be sleeping in the corners. They're with Sunsi. They're sleeping in the same room. Sunsi was like, Sunsim's giving, like, he's laying his hands on their head and praying for them. Sunsim is like, they're seeing Sunsim take care of the people who have mental illnesses. They see Sunsim praying for those, like, casting demons out of them. It's crazy. The stories were so wild to me. I was just like, he saw all these things. And what's even crazier for me is, he would talk about like some of the things that he did in the past, and I don't know how much of them I'm able to share, but just the heartache and the misunderstandings that happened because Sunsim isn't always doing things, like officially. There's sometimes Sunsim has to do things unofficially, like secretly, behind the scenes and stuff like that too. And so many times people would block him. So many times people would misunderstand him. So many times people would think that this person left Providence or is with the enemy and stuff like that too. And when we're listening to these stories, we're talking in the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s. Like this one time, because he's in Las Vegas right now, and he was someone who was like living together with Sunsteam and always together with him. And one day, he was like in the first blessing, but he tells like 1991. Can you guys imagine that? Sunsteam tells him to go to America in 1991. That's like almost before anyone was here in Providence in America. Like this is just telling him to go, which means he was here in the early 80s. I wish that in the future, Sunsi would give permission for this pastor just to tell the stories and just tell people of what happened in the past and all the different assignments he was given. And I was just blown away. The stories that this, and here's the thing that makes it even worse, guys. What makes it even worse is that here I am, kind of somewhat little bit like testifying about all the different things, right? But the crazy part is, even though like it makes you want to know all the different things that happen, right? Doesn't it? Does it make you think to yourself as like, oh man, what kind of stories were they? Right? What kind of stories were these? Like what? And man, I don't know. I don't know how to say it, guys, but yeah, I don't know how much I can share, but he was talking like, can you imagine you being with Sunseem for like from the very beginning, and then Sunseem tells you to go away, like go to another city, like in another country, and he was saying that he thought like he felt like, oh, why does Sunseem want to push me away? Why does Sunseem want to do this? Why does Sunseem want to do this kind of thing, right? And yeah. And I was kind of like, I would feel the same way. And he felt kind of hurt that Sunsi was pushing him away. And all of a sudden he's like, well, he asked him again, Sunsi, do you really want me to go? And Sunsi said, yes, go. And he asked him a third time. But the third time he asked, right? Sunsi got upset, right? Sunsi got upset. And basically said to him, like, he got upset and angry at him and said, hey, when I tell you to do something, it's because there's a will, right? And that's kind of one of those sobering moments. It's like, amen, I'll go kind of thing, right? So I think a lot of time when I was listening to that, it's like, it's so true, because a lot of times our personal thoughts and our personal feelings get involved. And when that happens, what does that mean? When personal feelings and personal thoughts come in, that's when we kind of, we begin to misunderstand. We begin to think that, like God, maybe God is thinking this, or maybe God is thinking that. But the reality is, there is something that's even bigger than that, which is the will of God, right? And I think it's something that we can just really, think carefully, think deeply too, that this is something that we have to think just in our everyday life also. We really do. And I think it's something that we can really push ourselves to not be thinking in such a way that's centered on our own thoughts. Because, here we are assuming that Sunsteve's trying to do something, but he's not doing something like that. That's just an assumption that we have. And this is why we have to always think to ourselves, what is the will? What is God trying to do? What is God trying to say to me here? What is God trying to say to me here, kind of thing, right? So that is something that I was really thinking about, and I was hoping that all of us would really open our eyes to much more clearly also. Right, so yeah, it's really amazing, and it's really interesting to see and hear some of these stories. And I think in the future, I'm going to ask him to testify, because he has got some powerful stories. He really does. And the secret stories he has, those are the ones. Think about it. We're there for 7 hours. Okay, so I'll tell you one of the stories. Okay, and this is not going to be from him. It's going to be from one of his daughters, who is like. I didn't know she was this spiritual. I'm very close to her too. I just didn't know how spiritual she was, and she can see spirits. Not only can she see spirits, she's able to talk to them. So. Man, like, she was talking about this trip she went, a choir trip she went on for school, and she was able to meet up. She was going to the 9/11, what do you call it? The 9/11 memorial. This is after 9/11 happened, and she was talking about, I won't tell you the full story, but when she went to the memorial, she saw some spiritual things, and then when she got back to the hotel, all of a sudden she hears, hey, and she looks up, and there's 3 spirits, like, at the ceiling. And there was like a father, a mother, and a child, but they're not the same family, the father, mother, and a child. And she looks up, and they're like, hey, we know you can hear us. And she's like, no, I can't. But, obviously you can't say that. But she's like, they're like, we know you can hear us. And this is when she's like, what do you want? And then they're like, we need you to relieve us of our grief, right? And, it's like, what the heck does that mean? And they wanted her to send a message to their loved ones. Tell me this is crazy, guys. They wanted her to send a message to her loved ones, but she's like, how am I supposed to do that, right? And remember, she's like, I think she's in high school at this time. And then her angel comes to her and says, oh, just tell us and we'll do it for you. We'll do it for them, right? So you don't have to do it yourself. And she's like, okay, do it. So then she gets to hear all the different griefs that each of these spirits have. So there was a child, and this child died at 9/11, right? And this child wanted to tell their mother that it's okay and she can love her new child. So what was the situation? The mother, after this child died, she had so much guilt. She thought it was her fault that her first child died. She has another child, but she cannot love that second child fully because of the guilt she has for that first child that died. And this child is like, please tell my mother I'm okay. It's fine. And you can love this child. Tell me that's crazy, right? So the angel takes it and goes to tell that mother. The second one is, what is it? It's there's a man, right? The man is the husband. And this man wants to tell his wife. Remember, he was married and died in the 9/11 building, right? But wants to tell his wife that the new person that she's, her new lover is the person that he has chosen for her. So go ahead and marry that guy, right? Tell me that's like, we're like going, what? So this woman, because she feels bad that she's going to she has a new lover, but her husband died in the fire, right? But she feels bad to marry this new person. But this guy is saying to tell his wife that it's okay, and this is the guy that he has chosen for her. And then the last one was this woman, and she's 20 years old, and she died in the 9/11 building. And her story was that her father cannot fully live because feels terrible that his 20-year-old daughter died in that building, so he can't move on with his life. And she wants to tell the father that she is good, that you should live your life in the best way, right? So that we can meet in the spiritual world. So these angels, I think it was like through dreams, went to talk to all three of these people. And like later on, this girl talks to her angels to figure out what exactly happened to each of them, and they're all doing great now. The one woman married that guy. The mother moved on from her child and loves her second child, and the father is living a better life so that she can meet his daughter in a better way. Guys, can you imagine if we're talking about this? Talking about these things, you can see how we can go for like 7 hours, right? Tons of these different types of stories we've been talking about. Sunsim stories, what Sunsim, like the little missions that he gave to him secretly behind the scenes, and this and that. It was nuts. I'm dead serious, guys. It was so nuts to the point I couldn't believe it, right? So that's what I did. And I thought to myself that Vegas, like, remember, I actually thought that I'd be leaving on Tuesday, right? Before like all these wildfires and stuff happened. But, everything changed. So the reason why I came to Vegas, like partly is like, I'll meet the families here, but I needed time of rest. I needed time to just recover before going back to Korea. And man, it was awesome. So I'm very grateful and thankful that I'm able to come all the way over here. And I'm hoping that in the future that I'll be able to just listen and listen to even more stories too. But yeah, it's crazy. I was excited and happy at the same time also, right? So yeah. So that's kind of some of the things that I'm just really excited about, and listening to the history of Providence in the first half and stuff like that too is something that's, it's mind-blowing and awesome at the same time. Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of the thing that I wanted to kind of share with you guys. Hope it's something that you guys, it helps you guys to open your eyes a lot more too. Okay, so we have a special surprise because it is the last day of Giving Glory to God. There is a new song. So someone wanted to give glory with this new song. Okay, you guys know it. He's from the Rapture Collective. This is Julius over there in Australia, and he is going to share with us a brand new song, right? And I hope that, because we've heard so many. He's got so many awesome things to talk about. So what I'm going to talk what Julius is going to do is he's going to introduce his new song. So everyone, please welcome Julius as he introduces his new song that he made.
Hey everyone, I'd been writing this song and creating it since October GGG, but I hadn't fully finished producing it. I was quite inspired to finish the production during these 15 days of giving glory, to especially give thanks to the Lord for his endless love and sacrifice. I also wanted to confess my faith in him, no matter what the world says. Thank you.
Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you something. Whatever them people say, they can tell me nothing. If I was gonna tell one thing that I know for sure, that I know, that I know, that I know. You're my lover, my teacher, Messiah. They ain't gonna make you retire. You fulfill God's realest desires. You got me, ooh, ah, ooh. You're the one and only one who can take my spirit higher. To the bottom, so I sin and make me lighter. When I meet you in the prayer, make my words go poof, yeah. Watch them disappear. No more fear, yeah. Left it in the rear. Thanks to you, I got the Golden City visa. Got me singing like, ooh, ah, ooh. You're my lover, my teacher, Messiah. They can't make you retire. You just keep spitting that fire. Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever seen a man with a love so great? He gives everything, even to the ones who hate. 77 times over, yet he does it again. Just to save their soul, just to change their fate. All these knives in his back, yet he never hesitates. Waging a war of love and peace, he's quick to demonstrate. When they escalate the venom, he just elevates. Rises above it, he just does it. No two ways about it. Do it till the end, that's his motto. Divine Logos, yes, you've heard it before. Don't forget it, say it loud on the megaphone. I wanna hear it ring in my head like a telephone. Still working miracles in the worst situations. Fresh manna from heaven on a daily occasion. That's the one that I serve, the author of salvation. Resolve the fundamental problem for individuals, families, and nations.
Ooh, nah, nah. Yeah, yeah. 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 Let me tell you something. Whatever them people say, they can tell me nothing. If I was gonna tell one thing that I know for sure, that I know, that I know, that I know. You're my lover, my teacher, Messiah. They can never make you retire. You fulfill God's will, His deepest desires.
All right, so let's get into our testimony for today. And today we're going to hear an evangelism testimony on this final day of GGG. Also, I do have some other people that are going to be still sending in their evangelism experiences. So I think we might do a couple more days because there's more people that still want to talk about it. But I'm here, me and Pre-Pastor Wanchun. We're here in the hotel in Las Vegas, and he's just exhausted. He is. But when I asked him about his best and greatest evangelism experience, he just like his eyes lit up. He's like, oh, there's this one that I really want to talk about. So I'm going to just kind of go over with Pastor Wanchun about this great evangelism experience and what made it so great. All right, so Pastor Wanchun, he's here right next to me. And yeah, let's get into the intro of the background of what made this such a great evangelism experience, meaning someone that he evangelized. All right, so let's get into it.
Hello, everyone. So, yes, this is Wanchun. Hope you guys are all having a great day so far. I have a great experience. I wanted to share about a guy that got evangelized from Catholicism. So, this guy, he was just starting in campus, and he was really tied into his Catholic Church, and actually from a very young age he wanted to be a priest, and so from a very young age he practiced giving communion, like actually being the person doing it. So if you've ever been into a church, a Catholic church, and they do the wine and then the bread, so he actually, not only did he do that from a young age, but he had people that were wanting to pay for his theology school that he would go to. Anyway, there was a member that connected him to me when I was overseas, and we started to learn together. And so I started teaching him, and we prayed a lot for him. It was a process of learning every single Bible study and then praying a lot. And so we set a lot of prayer condition. We prayed every day together. And I have to say that I really give props to the other leader that I was working with, who prayed just, sincerely, deeply. And this is really the foundation, I think, that lives can come to. And I think sometimes a lot of the, I would say, like we really look up to the lectures a lot, but I think prayer is the most essential thing in order to bring lives. Anyway, back to this life. We got to the point of teaching John the Baptist, and as you know, it's a Bible study that you start to reveal a lot more about what we don't know. Especially as a Christian, when I learned that Bible study, it was a shock, because I started to recognize that, wow, there's really holes in my understanding of what I know about the Bible, because I didn't know this. I didn't know that John really hadn't done everything that he should have done at that time. And so as I taught this, then he understood what I was saying, but it was such a difficult thing, or it was nearly... There's something so solidified into his very Catholic identity, because John the Baptist is a saint. So how could I say anything but good things about him? But as the word was delivered and everything, he actually had to learn the Bible study 3 times. And you might say, right, that we didn't have to like emphasize about it. We could just pass it by. But I was inspired that as he kept learning, that this is something that needed to change and needed to be broken in a sense. Not to break him, but, the perception needed to be changed. And after that Bible study, things started to the momentum started to go steadily faster and better and stronger. So one by one, we got to the point of getting to the end, and he started to get a sense of who Sanzim was. And as I shared the stories, as we kept praying, he got an idea of who this person was, that I kept testifying all these, all the stories and all the things that we shared. And so, we get to purpose of creation, get to the fall, and he's shocked. And I share these stories, and then he's like, oh, so this Sanzim guy, what are you trying to say about him? And of course, everyone's been in, I think, these positions where even being that person asking that question. But as we kept getting to the end of the point, I had to leave the country. And so I had to kind of hurry up and wrap things up before I left. So we got to times and a half time, and as well as the end point of the lectures, I guess. Re-education will come later, but it got to the point where he needs to kind of start to recognize this history. And so I asked him, we finished about times half time, and I started to ask him, so who do you think has set the conditions so that this kind of word is being given in this time? And he knew who I was talking about, of course, right? This word is so amazing, you love it so much, but there's condition always for a tremendous amount, this kind of great word, right, that has been given. And it was funny because at that time I had to move out of the accommodation that I was in. So we decided together that I'd stay with him a few nights before I left the country. And that's when we decided to do pre-dawn together. And so we had a very deep talk the night before, and those questions came up, and kind of asking, and I was actually kind of direct, I think. I'm not usually, but I started asking him directly, like, who do you think Sansim is? Not recommended, but sometimes I feel probed. I feel like this is something that is necessary. And so he said directly, well, I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. And I had stayed with him. I had visited him in his hometown, and I stayed with him a couple of times. And every single time that I'd stayed with him, he had a very spiritual dream. And it was really interesting because every time I stayed with him, he doesn't really dream, but every time I stayed with him, he had dreams. And I said, tonight, pray. Ask God to show you and reveal to you about this topic, right? And so, we both went to bed, and in the middle of the night, he woke me up, and he came to me, and he was crying, and he said, hey, I need to talk to you. Like, I just had this dream, and I was like, oh my God. He had a dream, of course. And he sat me down, and he was, it's kind of, tears in his eyes, and he's saying, I had this dream, and there was a tree, and the tree had no fruit on it. And in the basket that I was holding in front of it, there was no fruit. But as I looked over, there was another tree filled abundantly with fruit. And guess who was standing in front of it? You. And I knew it before he said it, because I just kind of recognized what God was trying to say to him, right? Now, it gets even more interesting. So I decided to testify about the scriptures in the Bible that, are relevant, right? Like referencing Jesus is the vine, you are the branches, to the disciples, and you can bear no fruit if you're not connected to me. And I said, continue to pray about this, because we're going to do, we kept talking, and then it was time for the pre-dawn to pray and then to listen to the message. And that message that day, wow, I decided, okay, it's like an hour long. So let's just listen to the first 20 minutes. And the first 20 minutes, Sansim was just talking about campus, and he's nodding his head, and he's reacting really well. So I decided, okay, another 20 minutes, because it's his first time to do pre-dawn. And then the next 20 minutes goes really well. So I go, okay, like the last 20 minutes, like let's listen to this. And as he continues to listen to the message, it's kind of wrapping up. It's getting to the end. And guess what Sansim says? If you do not believe in me, you will bear no fruit. And his eyes were shocked. Like, he looked at me, and I looked at him, and he just started crying. It was like surreal, because of just what, everything God had prepared, and what he had seen and realized and dreamt about, and what we've been praying about. The very topic something we're going to talk about today was bearing fruit, exactly what he dreamed about. Now, that day, as I continued to talk to him, it felt like he went from having one toe, like it's kind of, one toe in Providence, to jumping both feet into Providence. I don't know if you've ever experienced talking to someone when when someone's in Providence, you feel it. You can see by the conversation, by the heart that they have, but you can feel when someone's kind of got their foot outside. But he completely transitioned from that point on. So everyone, thank you so much for listening to this testimony. I hope that evangelism for you and your regions and in your individual lives can go really well. And I just want to emphasize that as you teach and as you manage lives, you must pray, because the condition of prayer is what God is looking at. That sincere heart of petitioning for that life, as well as praying that God will bear the fruit in a big and abundant way this year. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and have a great rest of this year.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know